Everyone, this is Liz. It's been a while since we've done our Bane experiment, and I've been posting videos of around the time Weston was just born, and I realized that he'll be 11 weeks next Tuesday, the day after tomorrow, and I've never made a labor and delivery video for this little guy, so I think I will tell it now. Okay, so Weston was born May 24th in 2011, and he was due on the 22nd. When I was about probably 38 weeks pregnant, I started having contractions, and they were about 30 to 40 minutes apart. They were very light. They weren't painful. They would come in in the evening, and they would go for an evening, and then they would stop. They would be stronger when my husband and I would take our walks, and a lot of times I wouldn't feel any, and then I would move up out of the bed, or move around, or even shift positions at night, or get up to go to the bathroom, and I would have a contraction, and so it was really frustrating. So yeah, it lasted like that for week 38. I just had these contractions just coming on and off, on and off, on and off. At 37 weeks, I actually had my membrane stripped, and 38 weeks, they were stripped again. So I for sure thought that I was eventually going to go into labor pretty soon. Week 39 came, and my contractions started getting closer and closer together. They started going from 30 minutes to 20 minutes, and lasting, instead of 4 hours, maybe a half a day. And then they started going down to 15 minutes apart, and this was the week 39. They were 15 minutes apart, and they were getting stronger, and probably about after I had my membrane stripped during week 39, I for sure thought I was going to go into labor in the next day or so. I had a bloody show. My appointment was on Tuesday. I had a bloody show on Wednesday. My contractions had gone down to 10 minutes apart. They were starting to feel achy, like period cramps. My back was starting to hurt as well. And I just knew I was going to go into labor. And we were all on watch. My parents were on watch. My in-laws were on watch. My husband and I were on watch. We were going nuts because I was just so ready to burst, and I just so wanted to get the baby out as soon as possible. Then my contractions started coming closer and closer. Probably the Friday before I was due, because I was due on a Sunday. The Fridays before I was due, I had had enough, and I went in for a labor check. And but no, I wasn't in labor, of course not. And my contractions were between 5 and 10 minutes apart. And it just felt like bad period cramps. And I just was uncomfortable, and I was dilated. I actually started dilating. I was about a centimeter and a half, 37 weeks. 2.5 centimeters, 38 weeks. 3 centimeters, 39 weeks. And finally, when I went into my first labor check, I was 3.5 centimeters dilated, but they wouldn't admit me until I was 4 centimeters. So it was just a frustrating experience. It was kind of a slow weekend that Saturday. I had contractions on and off all day, nothing really major. In fact, when I would rest and take a nap, they would kind of go away. And then my due date came, and it was so frustrating. I for sure thought I was going into labor. We went into the hospital, and okay, I'm at 4 minutes. We went to the hospital to have another labor check. I was 3.5 centimeters dilated. My cervix was so soft. In fact, earlier, probably the day before, my mom had stopped by to visit with my grandparents, because my grandparents had come down from Central California, because that was the weekend I was due. They thought I was going to have my baby. And so they wanted to be there, but no, I wasn't going into labor. But my mom checked me. She's an OB/GYN nurse practitioner, so she knew how to do it. And in fact, she even said, "I'll break your water for you if everything looks good." And she gave me a cervical check. And the thing is that the baby's head the entire time was not engaged. He hadn't really, I thought he had dropped. You know, because I had passed my mucus plug probably around week 35. My husband's coming in. I passed my mucus plug around week 35, and I thought he had dropped, but you know, at 37 weeks his head was still floating. 38 weeks he was like at minus, oh, bless you, bless you. He was at minus like 3. He was still at minus 3, and my mom checked, and his head, she could push on his head, and you know, he would still move around in my belly. So she's like, you know, I don't feel comfortable breaking your water. Hey babe, I'm doing a labor and delivery video. She says, I don't feel comfortable breaking your water because of things like cord injury and cord prolapse. So that didn't happen. And I went in on the day I was due for a labor check. No, was not in labor. By that time, I was so frustrated. I was like, please, I just want this baby out. Can you induce me? Can you give me a C-section? Can you do anything for me? I'll take it. My husband just came back from Del Taco with some nachos because I was hungry. I think the reason why I'm so hungry all the time is because I'm breastfeeding and my caloric demands are greatly increased. Anyways, so my due date came and went, and then it was the day after my due date, and I was one day overdue, and I felt like I was going to burst. And everyone, you know, I still went out and about because, you know, I was tired of sitting at home waiting for me to go into labor. I've been doing that for the past month. And so we went out. It was really funny. When people would ask, when are you due? I would say, oh, I was due yesterday. You know, they're like, oh, you're going to have your baby yet? And I'm like, no, probably not going to happen. I really thought I would probably end up going like a week overdue and have to be induced. But I was just having contractions on and off all that day. They were like between like 7 and 8 minutes apart. And they felt uncomfortable. They felt like really bad period cramps. I was just feeling miserable. Oh, a fork. Thanks, babe. Anyways, it was that evening, the 23rd, Monday the 23rd. I was due the 22nd one. And I was laying in bed just kind of dealing with contractions and cramping because I felt a lot of cramps. And I had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and I was laying back into bed, and my husband was there. He's playing World of Warcraft. It was a very quiet day, and I was laying back into bed, and pop, I felt a pop. And I was like, whoa. You know, I thought I'd like, I don't know, pop my hip or my back or, you know, popped a joint or something because I was, you know, I was so big and lumbersome. But I felt a pop, kind of felt and heard a pop. And all of a sudden, I had the world's most painful contraction. It was so painful. I got out of bed. I was crying. I was just writhing in pain. I was in so much pain, and all of a sudden I felt fluid just gushing out. And I was wearing a pad because I was having some pretty heavy discharge that day, and so I was like, am I gonna go into labor or what is going on with my body? And I had some pretty heavy discharge, so I was wearing, and the when I broke my water, it just soaked the pad, and I was like, finally, my water broke. I can actually go into the hospital now and have my baby. And so I went and changed clothes, and because I was wearing you know, a t-shirt and undies, and I went and got some clothes on, and we had our bags packed, and we headed over to the hospital. So I'm going to eat my nachos, and then I'm going to talk about the whole labor process. This is my husband.
Hello.
And so he's going to be here to verify all of the details of the story. So
She cried like a baby.
I'm going to cry like a baby. Oh, I just had Del Taco.
Hi, I'm Weston.
That's Weston.
Hi, everyone.
So my water broke around 6:30 on Monday night, and we were at the hospital by 7 because we live really close to the hospital. We live like in a 10-minute walk to the hospital, so we were there really quick. and I was so anxious to go into labor that I was like, okay, my water broke, let's go out the door. I kind of wish that I had taken a shower before I went to the hospital, because I hadn't showered that day, and so it would have been really nice to have taken a shower first, but I was so anxious to get to the hospital and get the party started that he's been really fussy lately. Well, this evening, while Jason and I have been eating our Del Taco snack. Anyways, so when we got to the hospital, my dress had got soaked because my water had broken. And, do you need to lean back against something?
Okay.
And,
Might be hungry.
oh, I think he's hungry. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this later.